Welcome to Bootstrap, episode 7. As you'll hear in the episode, I did not get that right. I thought we were on 6 because I don't know why. Having a hit podcast comes with a lot of responsibilities. Guy's with me today on the intro. What's up, Guy?
Hello.
This was a fun episode.
It was. We had a special guest on.
Alex Bouaziz from Deel, letsdeal.com. A great Y Combinator startup. He was based in Israel and London, San Francisco. You'll hear an amazing entrepreneurial journey, if you will. Raising money, and just a fantastic, really fast-growing startup. They raised a ton of money, almost $50 million, and famously went from his Series A of, what was it, Guy? 14 million?
I think 14 to 44, 3 months.
And his Series B was 3 months later. So you got to hear Alex's story. It's incredible. And we got to shoot the shit, as usual. But Hillel had a very interesting week. A lot of famous people, so a lot of good stories.
A lot of name dropping.
But I could say this is our best episode yet. Episode 7, Bootstrap. Enjoy. Well, welcome to Bootstrap episode 6. Guys, we made it. Episode 6.
Episode 7.
No.
Yes. That's
Now,
how it works.
are you serious?
Last week was 6.
I can't tell if you're joking now.
No,
Hello,
I'm serious.
what episode is this?
I thought it was 6, but I could be wrong. I don't know.
Oh my God,
No,
we've
it's 7.
done this so much.
Yeah. Well,
All right, we're
lost
7.
track.
All right, episode 7. Look at that. All right, so this week, this is how we're going to start, okay? Hillel Fold is flexing so much on Twitter right now with members of Knesset reaching out to him. Hillel, are your arms tired from all that flexing?
Yeah, man, they hurt. Dude, shut up. It's been a crazy couple of days, man. What do you want from me? Come on, if Naftali Bennett called
Has
you,
Joe Biden called you yet?
if Naftali Bennett called you to ask you for advice on business, you wouldn't post a cool picture?
Yeah, what I loved about it, I was showing to Guy, is that the screenshot, everyone should go twitter.com/hillsfold, find the picture, comment on it. It's quite a picture. Hill's holding up a picture of Naftali Bennett calling him on his phone. By the way, that could have been anyone. You could change anyone's name in your phone book to Naftali Bennett. So we're going to ask, is it Minister Bennett, Mr. Bennett?
I don't know.
Come on the podcast, set the record straight. I challenge you to join us here. Did you actually call Hillel? But aside from that, it said the call was 20 seconds long. I imagined it went like this. Hillel, it's Naftali Bennett.
That was in the middle of the call.
Oh, Minister Bennett, hold on 1 second. Stop talking. I need to take a picture. 1 second. True or false?
Dude, that was the middle of the call. 20 seconds. It was like a 10-minute call.
It said 20 seconds on your screenshot.
Yeah, but that was the middle of the call. I took the screenshot. That wasn't the end.
That's what he's saying. You
What?
stopped.
It was 20
you stopped
seconds
the call just to
20,
take a picture.
20 seconds in. Yeah. I put it on. It was on speaker.
Usually when the former defense minister calls someone, it's like,
Yeah,
you
focus on the call.
a little bit, but it's impressive. And you had another member of Knesset call you this morning in your car.
Indeed. I was on my way to Amnon Shashua's
How
house.
was that?
All
right, we're talking about it.
Yeah.
Should you talk about that one?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So Michal Cutler Wunsch, I think is how you pronounce her name. We've been
From Canada.
Yeah. So we've been talking a lot lately because she's very, very active in advocating for mental health in the Knesset. But she called this morning about something completely different. She called because she's actually not running for Knesset now in the next elections, but she wants to have not a political campaign, but like an alternate campaign for Anglos and the Anglo voice in Israel. So, and she wants to know if I'm.
I like that.
She wants to know if I want to push it, whatever. I said, yeah, of course, happy to. She's cool.
Nice.
I like her. She's smart.
Do you have to do any prep work for it, or you just show up somewhere?
I don't know details yet.
Leading the witness.
Anyway.
And then, okay, so not only you got two members of Knesset call you, your arm must be getting very tired with all this flexing. You met Professor, right? Professor, doctor,
Professor.
Dr. Professor Amnon Shashua, co-founder Mobileye.
Yeah.
How was that?
So honestly, like jokes aside, so first of all, honestly, like I had a long list of people like back in the day that I wanted to connect with in the Israeli ecosystem beyond the normal people, like Aaron, and people that are not easily accessible. And I've literally like crossed them all off the list. I met everyone except for Amnon Shashua. I had zero relationship with him, and I didn't know how to get a relationship with him because he's super like, like even the people, friends of mine that work at Mobileye, they don't have access to him. Anyway, long story short, like a couple of weeks ago, he follows me on Twitter. So I sent him a DM and, he actually sent me a DM and he said, you want to experience the autonomous car? I was like, hell's yeah. So I went to his house. We scheduled a meeting like at least 5 times. I went to his house this morning and I was blown away because the guy's like super duper humble. I don't know how much he's worth, but many billions of dollars.
He has the autonomous car at his house. I thought you were going to say you went to the Mobileye office.
No, so I'll tell you. So first of all, he sold Mobileye for $15.3 billion. He has Orcam that he's the founder and CEO of. That's also a unicorn and several other companies. We met at his house. He has 4 or 5 sick motorcycles. He has a Porsche, and then he has the fully autonomous car, which is a test car. It's not production. We got in it. He explained to me about all the technology, super geeky stuff. We got in it. We rode to Mobileye headquarters in Jerusalem fully autonomously. Like you can imagine, there was a lot of traffic, switching lanes, everything, the whole thing beginning to end. He didn't touch anything. It was wild. And we talked a lot about, the technology, and basically, at least according to him, no one, including Tesla, no one has bleeding edge technology like Mobileye has in terms of the ability to switch lanes, the ability to like merge with traffic, all that stuff. So yeah, then we went to Mobileye and I saw the garage with all the other cars, and it was wild, man. I'm telling you, it was actually insane. But for me, what struck me most was how humble the guy is. Like you would never know he's a billionaire ever.
How far are they from production of autonomous cars?
So he said,
that's the question,
right? So it's funny. I actually spoke to Benedict Evans about this a couple of years ago, and he said that we're a decade away from like it going mainstream. And Amnon agreed. He said by 2030, a significant percentage of cars on the road will be autonomous, but not before that.
Fully autonomous or with autonomous assistance?
No, fully autonomous. By the way, my car now, the Volvo, has semi-autonomous, and it's powered by Mobileye, which I didn't even know. That was funny. He brought me to my car.
You have a Volvo?
You're funny. He brought me to my car, and he's like, "Look, this." He's like, "This is Mobileye." I had no idea. But yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's wild. It's really, really wild. Because again, you can imagine driving on Israeli roads, like, you want to switch lanes, and the guy's not letting you in. Like, it's really hard for a computer to be able to know, when not to go and switch lanes, when to go back. And I mean, there were a couple of hiccups on the way, like in terms of it wasn't as smooth as maybe a person might have merged, but all in all, we got there and, he didn't touch the steering wheel once. So it was pretty wild.
Is there autonomous flipping the other driver, the bird?
That's funny.
Or do you have to still do that manually?
Do that manually. And you have to honk manually also.
I have someone on my team used to work at Mobileye, and she was talking about how the trippiest thing is the lack of control. Like you're in this thing and it's going, and because it looks like a regular car and the steering wheel's moving on its own, like maybe if it looked completely different, like some sort of like monorail car or something. Like I think the monorail car at San Francisco airport is like fully autonomous because it's on the track. It just goes back and forth, right, but no one's driving it. But if it looks like a car, then it's super trippy to just not have any control, even though all the mechanisms for control are right there.
What was amazing to me was that I started to talk to him about the industry. Like I asked him if he knows Phantom Auto. He never heard of them. He didn't know who Mark Andreessen was. I was like, what? I was like, yeah, I couldn't believe it.
What?
Yeah. I said, do you want me to introduce you to Mark Andreessen? He's like, who's that? I'm like, what?
Wow. I can't believe it.
Yeah, no, he's not.
Introduce him to Alex.
He's like on another level of brilliant. Like he's not. I don't know even how to describe it. Like he when he was talking to me about how the technology works, I think I understood like 0.01% of what he was saying. Like he's different level brilliant, and he's just not interested in like intros or business. He's a scientist, period. And by the way, he has Mobileye, he has Orcam, he also has the first digital bank in Israel that he's founder of, and he has another company that he's recently founded with Ori Goshen that's using AI to basically interpret text and the meaning and understanding of text, like full blown, not NLP, like different level stuff. So I said to him, like, when
AI 21.
Yeah. I'm like, when do you sleep? 4 hours a night he sleeps, and he drinks a lot of coffee.
Whatever works.
It was wild. It was a fun morning.
And he has a full head of hair, which is It makes me jealous. All right, Guy, should we start the news? Quick hits.
Let's do the news. Quick news today. So let's start with Facebook. They are developing an Android-powered smartwatch. That was a big surprise to me. It's going to focus probably on messaging, right? So WhatsApp, Instagram, Messenger, and all those. But it'll probably compete with the Apple Watch with health and fitness features. What do you guys think of that? Would you buy a Facebook-powered watch?
I don't wear a watch at all. I sold my Apple Watch. I bought the new one. I sold it again. I'm not a believer. I don't use smartwatches.
So I have a theory on why that is. It fits into what I was going to say in general. I think the issue here Facebook's going to have, when I see focus on messaging as a product manager, you got to be aware have good pattern recognition. Apple started off selling the Apple Watch as a new messaging platform, and they had the digital pulse and like a way to like send like quick messages. That part, that selling point of the Apple Watch was a complete flop. Right? It's horrible for messaging input. It's great for health notifications.
That's the killer feature.
Are you kidding me, dude? Okay, stop it. We have to talk about this 1 second. I can't even okay, stop. Hold on. Looking at my phone.
Wow.
Looking at my phone in a meeting is rude. Looking at your watch is not rude. How is that not annoying?
That's the biggest problem with these smartwatches. So people think like, oh, you have to go. No, I just got 10 notifications. I don't have to go anywhere. I'm with you.
Drove me crazy.
That's a problem.
No, I really don't.
It would be funny if Facebook's pitch on this, because I don't know what the differentiator would be. I would hope not messaging, because then that's DOA in my opinion. It's not the right form factor for messaging input. Health, you got something. It would be funny if Facebook's like, oh, you think we have microphones on your phone? No, but we have it on your watch, so we can actually provide more information into your life.
I can't imagine what would be different about like there are cheap Fitbit bands, whatever they're called. There are a ton of those, so the fitness thing is totally covered. You have Garmin on the high end, you have these cheap ones on the low end, you have Apple somewhere in the middle. Notifications is a commodity. Everybody does those. It's not really a big deal anymore. You want notifications on your wrist, you get notifications.
Or you need good tie-in to the OS, which they won't have.
So what could they offer? I don't know. I mean, I don't see myself needing
social.
No way.
Okay.
Also, have any of Facebook's hardware products succeeded?
Oculus.
Portal is apparently very good.
I heard it's good too, but you know anyone that has it?
My parents.
Your parents have it, really?
Yeah, it's very good. It like follows them around the room. They have this feature where they could read to the grandkids. They have like a story mode. It's cute. It's a cute device.
I don't know anyone that has it. I know I heard it's great, but I don't know anyone that has it.
Neither do I. I think the VR things they're doing are amazing, but I don't see that as like yet as a mainstream consumer product. I mean, Apple Watch is a consumer product per se. Oculus is kind of like a gamer thing still. It's not really. I mean, most people don't think they'd ever get a VR headset.
I think that some companies are just not hardware oriented. Like I don't think that Google will ever. Google, Facebook, they're not hardware companies. Stick to what you do best.
I just hope that Facebook doesn't put a camera on their watch, like that company that's trying to do the Apple Watch thing. Yeah. It's like, you think that's a cool idea. You could do the like video messaging from your phone or from your watch or something, and then you go to the washroom and you use the urinal. You're like, oh, this should not have a camera. That is a recipe for a disaster.
I'm actually surprised. I mean, you know the founder of that company, right? Ari Roisman, who I like a lot. I actually, from the get-go, I told him, I don't. I mean, like, if this is successful, then Apple will put you out of business. If it's not, there's no market. I don't understand what they're doing, to be honest with you.
I told him the urinal thing, actually. He did not find it funny. But I still hold by that.
That's funny.
I think that's a privacy disaster. All right, next.
You sound like me.
Next.
All right, next.
Because we're short on time this time.
Yes.
We have an awesome guest coming up.
The best.
Really awesome guest.
The best.
Okay, so Dispo, David Dobrik. You guys know David Dobrik? He's a big, huge YouTuber. You don't know him?
YouTuber.
Wow, you guys are old, and I'm older than you.
I just said the YouTuber. I know.
Oh, you know him?
I don't think I know him.
I can't believe you don't know him, Hillel. So he's going to be your
He
next
has a
man.
he has a fountain in his house that
Yes.
only has fruit punch coming out.
Wow.
Yes.
I like him already.
He has a Ferrari and a Tesla. He's your next man crush after Casey Neistat. He's your next dude. Anyway, he's a huge YouTuber, probably tens of millions of subscribers. I don't know exactly. And he launched an app called Dispo that seemed to be a bit of like, in my opinion, it seemed to be a bit of a joke. It was a single purpose app that replicates the experience of a disposable camera. So you take a picture. The focus was there are no filters. You have to kind of wait. You take a picture and you can only see it at 9 a.m. the day after. Okay. They raised $4 million seed round in October. Okay. They're now raising at $100 million valuation from, they haven't disclosed exactly, but they are talking to Andreessen Horowitz, Benchmark, Sequoia, very big names.
That is
And
ridiculous.
their whole idea, so that's what I thought, and then I started digging in a little bit to see, okay, what's going on here. This doesn't make sense. If you download the app now, you get the interface of a disposable camera. You have one button to press to take a picture, and maybe one more to see your pictures from yesterday. That's it. I don't get why it's $100 million valuation. And I started digging, and what I didn't know is that they launched a beta product that has all these social features cooked into it, and that seems to be what all the big VCs are, looking for, the next Instagram. So the whole thing is that Instagram started with the filters and all those things. Their point of view is that that's old. Now we just want to be authentic and let people take pictures that are no filters, no editing, nothing. You have to wait till you see them, and then you share those with your public followers or with groups of friends. And okay, that sounds a bit more interesting in my opinion. I have yet to see it work. He does have a huge following to help him get this off the ground, of course. But I don't know if that's enough to compete with Instagram.
Still sounds ridiculous to me.
It sounds ridiculous, but I mean that was also I like gimmicky apps from time to time. I think they're smart. I don't know about raising money in a business model, but I remember back in the day when Instagram came out, also having a filter was kind of like,
Yeah.
okay, what's the big deal? I reserved my first name username anyway, but I wasn't getting it.
By the way, I have to say,
Exactly.
I don't even till today. Of course, I understand it took off, etc. But like, there are things about Instagram that I genuinely don't understand. Like, for example, how this company did so well without a share button. Do you ever think about that? There's no share button. I can't share someone's like. It's amazing to me that and many other things that they ruin the resolution of pictures. Like, there's a lot of things about Instagram that I still don't get till today.
Sometimes, and look, sometimes having something constrained, even though it seems like it doesn't make any sense, actually helps. It makes it feel more unique. It forces users, like if they start adapting to what the constraints you're asking for, then it kind of also, that's another proof that overall you're offering something of value that they're willing to jump through hoops for.
By the way, speaking of social, the Clubhouse announced they just hit 10 million weekly active users.
Not
No
bad.
thoughts?
Wow.
That's like, it's a pretty impressive number.
I mean, I know we have to mention Clubhouse every week.
Yeah,
so
I
it's
was
a good thing
waiting
you
to
got
see
out
when
of
it
the
would
way.
come up.
I'm enjoying the platform. I'm
No,
having a
that
good
is
time.
impressive. Yeah.
I don't.
Staying power though.
Yes, I'm saying we discussed this. I don't know that it's worth $1 billion, but yeah, who knows?
No, it's a pretty good number.
Yeah,
it's a pretty good number.
Next.
All right. Well, we got our guest coming up. I think he's coming now. All right. So we got Alex from Deel. Let's start that off.
Schmooze.
All right. Our guest today is a special guy. It's a very special guy. You know why he's a special guy? We have an interesting origin story. His name is Alex Bouaziz. Alex, do you remember how we met?
Did we meet at a train station?
No, we did not.
Wasn't
We're gonna have to hear that story though.
We met at the mall, no, in Israeli, random.
No, I mean we did meet up in Israeli, but that's not where we met originally. It was at Web Summit. Thank you for remembering, Alex.
I do
Clearly,
remember.
I'm very special to you.
I do remember now.
Yeah. And I think we had a stand at Web Summit in Dublin when I was running Deep Link. And this French punk kid comes over to us. He's like, "Oh, you are from Israel? Very cool." I go, "Yeah, where are you from?" I go to MIT. Alex, do you remember that?
I do. I think I saw your kippa and I was like, a Jew. I'm going
A
to
Jew,
pay
yeah. There you go. We had that a lot at Web Summit. A Jew. A Jew.
Catch him!
There.
Catch him now!
It works, right?
It works, yeah. And Alex came over, and all jokes aside, we started talking. We traded information. You were a grad student, right, at MIT? I'm like,
Yeah.
it's a smart guy. He knows his stuff. He's at Web Summit for some reason. Why were you at Web Summit?
I got invited by like the Web Summit guys. They kind of paid for quite a bit of it, and they were really nice to us actually.
But as a grad, they were just like
No,
grad
they
students
had
from
a
MIT.
group. They had a group of people. They gave us scholarship from like different countries. Pretty international.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty nice. I made a lot of really good
Yeah.
friends actually.
I mean, it's so random for a place because, like, generally that conference it didn't meet that many interesting people. But yeah, you just walked over. We started talking. We've kept in touch ever since. I've seen you start companies, then start more companies, and start more companies. But we could start from the beginning. Alex Bouaziz, who are you now, and what do you do?
Why
Why
am
are
I
you here?
now? Why am I here? Because you told me to come. Apart from that,
Well, that's true.
why am I here? I'm here to spend some good times with my friends. I haven't seen Hilal in a while. Guy, I don't know if we've met before, but nice to meet you.
No, nice to meet you. First time.
And Itamar, yeah, who am I now? Well, I'm Alex. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Deel. We help companies hire anyone, anywhere. I'm originally from France. I've lived in quite a few countries, including Israel. I lived for a while in Israel, in the US. That's when you met me, in the UK and a few other places. After that, I built a couple companies, like you said. Some of that did pretty well. Some of that felt pretty bad. And we're at a stage where today we're running a pretty fast-growing company, raise a decent amount of funding, and the idea behind that is that we want to enable people to find the best talents wherever they are and to engage with them in the best way and give them the best experience.
All right. So raising what was the understatement you just said? A little bit of money.
Maybe.
A little. Okay,
little
we're gonna
bit.
have to talk about how much money you made
How much
and
money
how
I
many
made?
bags you had to carry it.
Yeah.
So
Sure,
what?
happy
Okay,
to.
so paying everybody. Let's talk tachlis, as they say, right? Anyone
Let's
who's
do it.
listening to our podcast, they need to learn what tachlis is. Practical.
Let's
What
do it.
is Deel? Deel is a payroll company, or it allows you to set up payroll in any country.
So deal in a very pragmatic way. So whenever you want to hire someone, let's say Hillel moves back to the US and you're an Israeli company and you really want to work with Hillel, right? There's three ways to go about it. The first one is opening a shop in the US and then running payroll locally. The second one is hiring Hillel as an Osek Patur, Osek Moshe, independent contractor in his country. And the last one is hiring Hillel for a third-party company located in the country that employs him on your behalf. So we do the two latter fully automated. So let's say for whatever reason tomorrow you wanted to go back to Canada, and are you still at Yahoo? I'm gonna say maybe yes.
Yeah.
So if Yahoo wanted to employ you as an employee end to end, you could become a Deel employee in 5 minutes, and we'll do everything. And similarly, right? If you wanted to work as an independent contractor, well, for the people that are from Israel, U.S. company trying to pay someone, they have no idea what is an Osek Patur, what's an Osek Moshe, what is that setup, what is that document. End to end, we kind of do everything in a couple minutes in order to collect the right information, provide you the right compliance documents and everything. What you can end up having is one system of record where it's a one-click payment process where you can have all your employees outside of your country and all your independent contractors outside of your country and give them a really great experience. That's the same as if they were local.
Are you then hiring them? Like they become Deel employees?
In the case of the employer of record model, which is where we employ people on your behalf, yes. In the case of a contractor, we help you mitigate your misclassification risk and tax evasion risk by facilitating the two parties, but we don't employ the contractor.
Okay. I know we're friends. I'm not just saying this. Genius idea. I'll tell you why. I have this exact issue.
That's not what you said about him before.
Well, last time I came to him with an idea, he told me, "Crappy idea. Why are you working on this? You're smarter than that." So
And how did it turn out?
Hey, I said it. First of all, I have a rep to maintain. Didn't I say it more politely?
no.
What? That's not true. All right. Well, we'll
I
get
believe
into it
Alex.
because your dad paid me back for that. Um, all right. Anyway, I'll tell you why it's a genius idea. I've been working with a designer who was moving across the world. She's now located in Portugal. Same issue when we came to Yahoo. She joined the team. It was hard for us to set up payroll for her. It was a big mess, and that's why instantly when I saw Deel, I'm like, oh my god, I could have used this.
Yet,
But
you're not on
Yes.
Deal today.
Ooh,
So
I-
we
burn.
should change that.
What burn? This I'm not Verizon. So we'll talk. I'm happy to try it. We'll
What's
talk
the,
about what it's
what's-
like to get in.
What's the domain, Alex?
Letsdeal.com, DEEL. So www.letsdeal.com.
Love it.
So what I was saying was, it's a genius idea. But walk us through, like, Alex, you had a bunch of companies. You're clear. You have a great education. You're a smart guy. How did you get? And I love companies like this where it's like a simple idea. No one just did the work. How did you get to this idea? Who did you co-found it with? And given the companies you had leading up to it, I'll let you give the background. But they weren't also in payroll.
True. Not everyone knows my background like you do, to be honest. So, I came out of, after MIT, I went to the UK. I started a PhD at Imperial. Very fun in environmental engineering. I spent a year there and, figured out it wasn't for me. So moved back to Israel, started building things. I think like every single entrepreneur you talk to, I wanted to build something in consumer, and realized that consumer was not for me, and I was not good enough for it at the time. So I built something to help help people create videos together. Not that I think about it, like the thrillers and the TikTok. If maybe we would have pushed it a little more, we could have gotten somewhere. But just really learned the hard way that B2C was not exactly something I was good at. In parallel, started something with my father, which is called Sawana Venture. I started helping a few companies in the Israeli ecosystem, investing in different companies, which gave me a lot of perspective on how to build different things. Fast forward a couple of years later, iterations through what was called Life Slice at the beginning into different B2C, B2B products. Eventually got a little bit into crypto, which is where I actually had my first, let's say, success, where we built some products in the crypto space that made some decent amount of money.
Sidex?
No, that was not, but a few others that were more NFT related.
Wait, wasn't Sidex was a blockchain?
Yeah, that didn't really work too well. I was, it was like a premise of like starting to think about what we wanted to do next, but it didn't really work too well. But basically built products in general and just try to see what stuck, right? What made sense, what didn't make sense, what we were good at. And, at the time I was 21, coming out of school, was pretty green, pretty young, still pretty green. But at that time I had I just wanted to build things. As an engineer, I just wanted to try. And eventually, after one of our projects did a decent amount of money, I was in a better position, and I pinged one of my good friends from school, from MIT, called Shuo, and she has a much more interesting background than me, to be honest. She was born and raised in China, moved to the US when she was about 17, worked on the street selling scooters to eventually pay her way through school, and went back to China after a master's at the Media Lab and a BA and an undergrad at MIT to build her first company. And I think the common denominator here is she wanted to build something in fintech. I never had any money to pay any developers in Israel outside of Israel because we were always bootstrapped. So I always hired outside of my country. I come from, I went to the international school at Technion. I've lived in different countries. So the notion that talent is everywhere is something that's pretty close to me. And I think to both of us, where when she went back to China, she wanted to work with some of her colleagues at MIT and finding a way. I mean, it's a different problem where it was less compliant. It was actually money motions at that time. Is a bit more complicated. And that's what kind of led us to Deel, right? We kind of sat down and like, what do we want to build next? And to be completely honest, at the very beginning, it was a bit more crypto oriented as well. It was more about, the movements of money at that time and what could we do to make a better experience for people. And what happens is we just quickly iterated through the process. So we got into Y Combinator at the time with the idea. And we quickly iterated through the product to what became Deel today.
So, I was going to ask that actually. So you got into Y Combinator. which for anyone who's listening doesn't know is the would you call it the top startup accelerator in Silicon Valley? I don't know the difference between accelerator and incubator.
It's fun. It's an accelerator. Basically, you're in an environment for 3 months. So one person within the partner groups, you have different partners, very successful ones, decide that they want to invest. You go to the Valley for 3 months, although it's fully remote now, and you kind of enter into that bubble with very strict goals, and people kind of like helping you figure out what you should be doing next. And everything basically leads into what's called demo day, which is a moment where you show what you've been working on, and every single investor is in the Valley kind of go crazy, which is nice. So it's a good focus. Yeah, go for it. Sorry,
Alex. Just I would imagine that this is a pretty saturated space. It sounds like you're solving a pretty basic problem that I feel like millions and millions of people have. So, talk to me a little bit about the competitive landscape.
Yeah, saturated space. I'm not sure because I think we executed like monsters, to be honest, given where we are today, and I think we're one of the market leaders. But apart from that, it depends where you're looking at it. If you're looking at like the bigger companies, you've got big companies called Velocity Global, Globalization Partner, and those are like old school service oriented companies, and it takes you weeks or months to onboard someone, and they can't really deal with the contractor aspect, only dealing with the employment aspect. Then you've got some rising startups. There's actually an Israeli one called Papaya, but again, I think they're a great company, and I have a lot of respect and love for them. I do feel like they're a service-oriented company that turned into tech, where we came in as a pure fintech company, and we've got like strong fintech skill, and we build the whole infrastructure for it. So, kind of to some extent catching up pretty fast on that front. On our side, we're very focused on execution. We're here to give your team the better experience possible, fully tech enabled. No company can tell you, I can hire Itamar in Canada in 5 minutes. And we're one of the few that can do that. And that's because
they can't afford me.
Yeah, one, I can. No, I couldn't before. Now I may. No, the most important part here is more that we own the infrastructure. So we don't use local, we do when we need to in countries where it's more complicated. But Itamar would be a Deel Canada employee, not a partner of a partner of a partner. So having the infrastructure there with him gives me the ability to give him the care that you would want your employee to have. And second, the speed to execution where I don't depend on anyone. All I need to do is roll out an employment contract and make sure everything is done.
It sounds like, to Hila's question, it sounds like the analogy would be instead of a saturated market, it sounds like there were a bunch of like dinosaurs not serving the market well at all. It's more like lemonade in the insurance industry. Yeah, there were insurance companies, but no one did it well, did it fast. Like a modern insurance company.
No one took, I think the main differentiator is no one took the financial approach to the problem. So if you look at the company, my COO was one of the early employee and GM of Revolut, my head of product, same. It's like we took a fintech approach to a problem where most companies took a legal and compliance approach to that. So what we really are is a fintech company with a strong layer of HR and legal and compliance on top of that. But the fact that we've built infrastructure that's already supporting hundreds of millions of transactions a month is really hard to match.
I feel like that's a really interesting distinction, and one that it's just a general discussion, kind of how one defines a tech company versus, a company using tech, right? Ongoing discussions. Is Uber a tech company? I mean, we call it a tech company, but how do you define what a tech company is? So you guys built this thing from the ground up as a technology company, and on top of that, the space.
I'm going to guess Hila wanted to say from the ground up. Yes, we built that from the ground up. It's a pure fintech company.
Interesting. Tell me how much you raised and from who.
Oh boy.
Whatever you can tell me.
Yeah. Let me tell. So we went through Y Combinator in January 2019. We raised about 4 million coming out of that in a seed round. We then raised a $14 million Series A with Andreessen Horowitz and $30 million Series B with Spark, Y Combinator Continuity, and Andreessen again.
5 minutes after his Series A. Just pointing it out.
So we raised about $50 million so far.
Holy crap. What? How? Wow. Okay. I did not know that. Talk to me. Wow. Who's the partner at Andreessen?
Anish is the fintech GP.
Wow, dude, that is wild. What's the traction like?
Doing good. We 20x this year.
We went from a Series A to Series B in 3 months. That's what the traction is like.
We went from an A to a B in 3 months. We support about 1,400 companies today, from SMBs all the way to public companies. So I do think from a number of customers' perspective, we're definitely the market leader. And again, the fact that we've built that infrastructure is what enables us to really scale.
Holy crap. I like, wow. How did I not know any of this? Jeez Louise. Wow.
I know.
Oh my Lord.
I know.
Wait,
Is that like the fastest like A to B in YC history?
I don't know.
'Cause you're up there now, and
Yeah, we're up there.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
we're definitely one of their we're one of their top 100-ish companies for sure. There's still a lot to do, right? We're still on the early stage.
wow. Holy smokes. How big is your team?
We actually just crossed 100 people and in 30 different countries, so everybody's on Deel, right?
Where are your offices in Israel? Where else?
So we don't really have offices per se. So we have people in 30 different countries. We definitely have about 15 or 20 people now in Israel. And they do use the Sarona co-working spaces in Tel Aviv and in Kfar Saba. But in general, we don't really have offices, right? People kind of do whatever they feel like it. They've got budget to get WeWork spaces if they want to, and it's kind of up to them.
Alex, I'm just saying, when we go to steak next time, you're paying.
Sure.
Oh, hold on. I know Hillel always says that. Has Hillel ever paid?
No, that has been me the whole time. To be
But
fair.
next time,
Exactly. Yeah,
he's
me
not
too.
paying.
Yeah.
Alex, didn't we go to like where did we eat last time? I feel like we ate in Herzliya somewhere, no?
It was actually, yeah. We had a good steak there. You gave me some good insights, so I'm thankful for that.
Holy cow, man! It's been so long. We gotta catch up. It's crazy. You're based here though, right?
Yeah, I'm actually, shout out to the Israeli government that is not making it easy for me when my parents are both Israelis to become Israeli. So I'm actually in London for a little bit.
You're in London right now?
Yeah, I'm in London until I wrap up my Aliyah process.
Wow.
So Alex, this has been a crazy year for you, of course. So I have to ask the big question: the pandemic. This has been, I guess, a blessing for you guys, no?
Well, I do think we had a pretty big market regardless. Have big companies onboarded on Deel because some of their employees had to relocate and change countries and have to figure it out? Yes, sure. That's definitely been there. For me, it was more, when was it going to happen? It definitely fast forwarded a lot of things. But, if you look at most of the good Israeli companies, like the big ones, they all have offices outside of Israel as well, right? So all of them were up for the grab.
So how has this changed your selling process? I know a few years ago, I've been doing remote working for quite a while, and I had a problem hiring remote workers because the company didn't want to, and the people didn't necessarily get it. And now it seems that it's like commonplace. So I'm sure this whole thing affected your selling process and even maybe your pitch.
No, because we were born, if you look at the timeline of the company, we were heads down post Y Combinator Demo Day in May 2019, and we lifted our head up in March 2020, which is exactly when the pandemic hit. So our pitch was always kind of tailored to that. Sure, we changed from, we added more features. We started with the contractor model and then added the employee model. So we for sure added more meat and more things to what we were doing, but we were kind of we kind of the one of the few companies that really took advantage of that whole thing.
Did you start the pandemic? I think that's what Guy wanted to know. It seems a little too perfect.
I plead the fifth.
All right, let's talk more about, because we were talking before. You came into YC not with this exact idea, because a lot of companies famously interviewed for YC with a different idea, and whatever partner Y Combinator saw promise in the founders or a nugget of an idea. Is that what happened? And you kind of pivoted between then and Demo Day?
That is exactly what happened. So my blessing was Aaron Harris, if you know him.
Yep.
And I definitely came to see Aaron, who's a good friend. And I remember we were pitching in something that was a bit different. And it was always about tying contracts and payments and contracts and variables. But when we saw him, it was something a little crazy. And I'm not too sure what he saw, but he definitely saw something. And actually we iterated like crazy. We actually pivoted into what Deel is today about 2 weeks before Demo Day, or a week and a half before Demo Day, which is kind of unseen. Yeah, it's pretty unseen. I think on our side, what we did is we really iterated throughout the whole process. We tried a lot of different things that we thought could work. And what actually ended up happening is one of our batchmates started using Deel the way it is today. And I was super confused. So like, if you think a little back at the solution, what we had is a way to escrow money into one place and then release the funds as you go. And the guy like escrowed $8,000. I was like, what the hell are you doing? Like, why are you putting your money on my random platform and then like escrowing that? And basically like what I understood is like the idea of tying up contracts, tying up payments was something that facilitated transactions for him. And eventually like, we kind of followed that and followed like his usage and realized that a lot of people like, most of the companies you're talking to, they're hiring people in Eastern Europe. They're making them wire transfer, giving them a poor experience, not doing it right. And it's just, no one ever thought about making it better because, I mean, there's lots of reasons for that. But I think, for example, you might have not considered them as critical as your Israeli employees, but now you do, right? Your remote worker force is people that you care about and you want to give them the best experience. And a lot of those things kind of fall into places.
Well, I was just going to say, did you start off with the payment process because all the legal stuff is such a... I mean, is it so much of a what's the word?
No,
Like a
legal
liability?
stuff is important. No, legal stuff is important. Everything was kind of like always important, but we approached the problem from person A needs to pay person B, how to make that process end to end super scalable, and then bringing
And
on
the
the
legal
different
came
layers.
with it.
Exactly. And then when we started with independent contractors, we realized, hey, you're just paying people, you're not getting the right invoices, you don't know if the guy's set up right, you have no idea what you're doing. And then the next step was, hey, if you want to employ that person, all you need to do is pay Deel Canada, who is the contractor for you, and then Deel Canada just runs payroll. And like everything kind of stacked up into it, where instead of like building an HR solution that says, hey, we're going to employ people for you, you as a company are just keep on paying, managing invoices, let's put it that way, right? Whether it's an independent contractor or it's our own company that's invoicing you.
So is the barrier to entry then basically you guys went out and just did the work? You created like someone to have to start now to compete with you. They're going to look at you're working 150 countries. That's insane.
A lot of work. Well, it's a matter of fintech infrastructure, which is really robust today, right? Like we've got some crazy infrastructure. We're already working with huge banks, and under 2 years old, being able to work with JP Morgan is not exactly something that happens often. And then for sure on the compliance side, we work with over 200 different lawyers to review our contracts and setups on a quarterly basis. We have different countries in different countries. Different companies in different countries. So the moat is definitely there, right?
Alex, what's your kind of main, like, how did you grow so fast? Like, where did all that traffic come from?
From a marketing perspective, the first year of the company, we were really focused on customer experience. So I am actually still doing a little bit of customer support myself. So just making sure our customers are really happy, which helped us through word of mouth. And then just doubling down on content. Like, if you need to figure out how to set up correctly in one country, there's just no content about it. And we've got content in every single country on that. That was kind of like the very beginning. And we really pushed on sales. My co-founder, she's a beast. When we started, like very early on, she used to send 200 emails a day and try to get any conversion. And that's kind of how we pushed it. We actually only started spending on the marketing side in September, I think, this year when our head of growth came in. And that part is working out pretty well as well. So we really took our time before we started spending.
I mean, I'm just a little offended that you never asked me to come meet you and talk about marketing. I'm just saying.
No pitching for business on our interviews.
Marketing. Yeah, we weren't really focused on marketing, to be honest. Like for me, the most important part was building the scalable infrastructure to support that, right? Like whether it's on the payment side or on the compliance side, there was so much work to be done, and there is so much work to be done that we weren't focused on growth at all costs. And it's like a form of we have a form of product market fit, I believe, that helps like word of mouth and organic growth. And that's now that we're doubling down. Yeah, you should have a chat with my head of growth. She'll have a lot of fun.
So with all the pivoting then, when you were finding your way, how did you, not lose faith, so to speak? How did you, instead of like a lot of people, they'll try different things and they'll be like, yeah, all right, I don't like this idea, therefore I'm stopping. Was it just like you had this connection to your co-founder? You're just like, I want to do something.
Yeah.
Or circling something.
By now you should know that I have this sad always optimism that kind of drives me through a lot of shitty products and shitty ideas. So I've always been the type of person that pushes through. I do think that there's a strong founder market fit as well in that specific. I've lived in different countries. I was in international school. My best friends are from all over the world, right? So helping people on that front is a very unique characteristic that I think we did have. And I think Sho and I have the same same ideas and same way of thinking. We're just pushing through, and every good entrepreneur will eventually build a company that actually works, right? That's how I think about it.
I mean, like, I know you to be quite prolific. Like, you're starting things, you're stopping things, which is a sign of someone who doesn't ask; they just go, right? Doesn't it bother you when people are like, "How do I get into this? How do I start something up?" Don't you feel like just saying, "Just start it"? Just
That's what I say most of the time.
you know.
That's what I say
Yeah.
most of the time.
Just hit record.
There you go.
Just hit record. There you go. That's our merch right there. Just hit record. All right. So, Alex, what would you say? Like, we have people, entrepreneurs, people in the tech space listening to our smash hit podcast, Top Charts in Israel. Thank you very much. Episode 6. You're in top 10 already. Top 6. So, if someone was going the similar path as you, like raising from Y Combinator, pivoting to different ideas, I want you to start with what did you do wrong and what did you do right? But what did you do wrong more important? Because I love those stories and I think they're very helpful.
I mean, I do a lot of stuff wrong all the time. I'll say the first one is I started a company in a place where I didn't have a lot of added value in general. So B2C is not something I'm strong at. I think what I did wrong is I worked, I think, on my first idea for a year and a half without traction. And I pushed through a little too much there. I should have, cut it short and move into something else faster. And failing fast is quite important. So that would be number one. Fail fast, move on to the next thing. The second thing is try, right? Like what I've found so far, and it's easy for me to say now, but I mean, as a French guy, there's no way I could have raised money in Israel, right? It's just not happening. But when I got into the US, right, like Y Combinator and all the different funds, there's so much capital out there that if you've got the right, like you just like go and figure it out. It's a little easier to raise. Like fun fact, like we raised our Series B and our Series A completely on Zoom, right? So we raised like 45 mil over Zoom. So now it's a little easier when you've got the right connections. But like honestly, fundraising in unless you're an Israeli guy with like the Shmoneh Matain background or you worked in VC and you know the right people, like just go to the US and fundraise from the guys that are going to triple your valuation anyway, and they're going to believe in your idea and there's enough capital to work with. That's number two. I think I stayed in Israel for too long for that process. And number three, I would just say like I mean, that's super cliche, but like I was really lying to myself every time. So I was looking at traction. I was like, oh, we're growing with more users and more things. But like, just gotta look in the mirror and say, am I actually doing something? Like, is this shit actually working? It's not because you added 5 new users or making 2 videos on your app that you're actually growing into something interesting, right? So like, understanding, are people paying for it? Are people happy for it? What can I do to upsell? One of the things we did when all of our competitors lowered their prices, we actually doubled it. So we, if you feel like your growth is real and you're not just lying to yourself, then you're onto something. If not, just change.
Yeah. I think that, by the way, that's so important. Like sometimes you could distract yourself with something that seems like that is a vanity metric, but it seems like you're getting somewhere. And it works the opposite way. Sometimes you have these revelations, a little product tweak, whatever, and you're like, oh my God, like no one is going to appreciate this, but this just made all the difference. This little thing just made all the difference. By the way, I want to go back to number 2 because I think Hillel advises a few companies that the second thing you said, Hillel advises a few companies that would agree with that, raising money in Israel as a non-native Israeli. Why is this such a problem?
Like
you said,
I don't like that. I mean, that makes me sad actually when you said that. That sounds like
Israel.
Israel.
It's true. I experienced it too.
It's the truth. They don't understand me. They don't understand how I think. They don't understand me. Like it's a different culture at the core, right? And I mean, there's great investors, and I could today, but I mean, it's a fact, right? When I tried to raise money the first time around, like fuck that. Like there's just no way I can actually raise, and that all disappeared when I went into the US. So I think if you're an Israeli guy, you're gonna have and I think there's actually better funds now, right? On the early stage, I think like F1. I don't remember their name, but there's like a very cool one that's actually investing really early on, and I really like those guys. I think they have actually the right approach. But most of the funds I've talked to, they either did not understand me. It was hard for me to get the right people, and the last one is like the valuations were pretty bad too, right? Like honestly,
I gotta tell you, when I was raising money, also the I'd say like 96% of the stories of like obscene, rude behavior was from here.
But you
And
also did the army, right? You did the army, no?
no,
You
I
didn't
made
do the army.
Aliyah
Yeah, I
later.
didn't do the army either. I do think not doing the army because I did, I did not live in Israel at that time. Definitely hurts, right? There's definitely a lot of connections you make from there and like small things you make in this process that everybody goes through that some people associate to better.
I'm just going to be a little controversial right now and say that I hear what you're all saying, but I humbly disagree, and I think that it's not. I don't think. Hold on, shut up, listen, don't tusk at me. All right, I think that just like anywhere in the world, it's about the right connections, it's about the right intros, the right in, and yeah, if you're going as a foreigner, to the VCs in Israel, with accents, with different culture, and no in and no warm recommendation from someone they trust, then yeah, it's going to be harder. That's true. I agree. But like, I'm a foreigner. I'm American, and like I've raised 100 rounds with Israeli companies for Israeli VCs for different companies. So I don't know that it's again, I think the way you guys are presenting it's as if like Israeli VCs are a bunch of racist bigots. Like I think if you get
Whoa.
You invest
That
in the things you
escalated
Tell
quickly.
me.
Yeah, you invest in. I mean, I understand. You invest in things you understand. You invest in people you know. You invest in characteristics that you associate with. It's very simple, right? Americans know because Americans invest money into everything that they think is interesting in general, regardless of the background, right? You know how many French funded companies do you know that they got funded in Israel? I can count 5.
Zengo.
Maybe. Yeah, 5. Uriel, Raphael, Uzan, and maybe 2,
And
3
Uriel
others.
had a
That's it.
background as a VC, and
Yeah.
it's not his first go around. I bet, honestly, Alex, when you IPO this, and after you, of course, give the Bootstrap team some advisory shares, of course. Okay. Your next time around, you're going to have an easier time.
Oh, for sure. And I think, for example, when I got to run my Series A, I think I was talking with the guys at Aleph. I think they're great, right? And would I have been able to really get there on our seed round when I didn't really know what I was doing? Maybe, I don't know. All I know is that it's easier to raise for me in the US, and it feels that way, right? That's basically it. I mean,
Yeah,
I remember I have a decent name in the Israeli VC ecosystem as well, to some extent. I think I've been invested in like 100+ companies there. It's not like I don't know anyone.
True. Hillel, we're no one's saying they're bigoted or it's just the nature of the beast. But I think that on an individual level, a lot of people, like in Alex's situation, in my situation previously, we don't want to complain because you don't want to feel like sour grapes. But then once you keep hearing more and more, non-native Israelis complain that it's extremely difficult to raise, maybe it is something that could be improved here. Maybe there should be a little bit of like, all right, we know you look different, you sound different, we'll give it a shot.
So I'm not debating or denying the fact that some VCs in this country need to take it down a notch in terms of their egos, in terms of whatever. But again, just my experience. I hear what you're saying. To me, I don't think that language barrier is.
But I think it's fair. Like I actually think it's fair. I understand. Like when I invest in companies today, I have a tendency to invest in my friends. I have a tendency to invest in companies that went through Y Combinator because I understand it, I understand their background, I understand what they're going for. Investing in things that you understand feels like a very fair statement to me. It's just like, unfortunately, I didn't really fit the bill at the time, right? That's all.
Right.
I hear you.
Right.
Okay.
Well, look, I'm gonna end with this, Alex. We took up a lot of your time. I do appreciate it. I really do. I'm gonna say this. All right. We'll go over. I gotta hear about when I never said anything that impolite to you. I was always very polite.
I'm joking, but it was very
I'm
useful.
Canadian.
To be honest, you were right, so I can't complain.
Itamar never says
for the
anything
record.
impolite. Never.
No, listen. First of all, you were right about how it's first of all, a consumer startup is very difficult. I'm running a consumer team now.
Too, right? Consumer in Israel is not exactly the easiest thing either.
No, horrendous. It would be impossible to raise. Right now, I'm running a consumer team, but I would only do that within a big company. So it's tough for sure. But anyway, let me get back to this. I got to say a nice thing about Alex. Alex is a mensch. This is what I like about Alex. You had every reason. First of all, I mean, just the fact that you just like walked up to me, start a conversation, like already your ace is in my book. Like no fear. You're just like, hey, let's talk, let's chat, whatever. We kept in touch. But the fact is, you had every reason. Like you have a great, high pedigree background. You started a lot of things. You had every reason to be a douche, basically, is what I'm trying to say.
No,
But you're very down to earth.
No one has ever a
Listen.
reason to be a douchebag.
No, I know. But you know what I mean. I've seen people in similar situations, and like I can't relate to them. But you always give off an air of like sincerity, and you're trying your best, and you're legit, and I'm just happy for the success you've had, man. It's
Thank
awesome.
you. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's still a long way to go, but yeah, sincerity is very important to me in general, right? Specifically, in what we're dealing with, there's a lot of shit. We're all going through shit all the time, so the least we can do is be nice to each other.
I like that.
Look, you never know, right? One second you're a grad student, and the next second you're like raising your Series A to Series B in 3 months. I'm like, holy crap, look what Alex is doing. But it's that, by the way, it's the fact that you're down to earth made me, the feelings were like, I'm so happy for him. Like, really, I'm really happy for you, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Get a room.
All right, now someone say something bad. Yeah.
Get a room.
All right, Alex Bouaziz of Deel. Anything else you want to tell everyone? Letsdeal.com.
Yeah, let's look. If you're a fast-growing company and you need to hire people around the world, you're at the stage where you need your first person in the US and you don't want to open a US company, hit me up, shoot me a note, an email, or a DM. I think you can probably share that with the podcast itself. And super happy to help and help companies in Israel start growing internationally.
I hope your servers are strong and can handle all the traffic from the Bootstrap podcast today.
I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Not sure.
4 whole requests. All right, so if someone wants to reach you, can I give your email? Or you don't
Yeah,
give
it's
your
just
email?
alex@letsdeal.com, and my Twitter is just Bouaziz Alex. Super simple. I'm pretty rapid too, so.
And on Twitter, he's got the Forbes 30 under 30 pictures, your profile. And I was gonna say, if anyone deserved it, it's you. Usually that's like a list of like whatever, but like no. Alex deserves it.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, Alex. We'll see you soon.
Thanks, Alex.
See you, Alex.
Bye, man.
Thanks. Take care. Dude, I had no idea.
Oh my God, that was such a good interview. Alex is
dude,
incredible
wild.
story.
Wild. I had no idea that
Totally,
it was so
yeah.
successful.
Thanks, Alex.
I love the guy. I have to say, my biggest takeaway is
Hello, completely frozen right now. He's just,
Hello?
Really?
he couldn't handle the interview anymore. He's gone.
You guys look frozen to me. I'm frozen?
You were frozen, yeah.
All right, you're back now.
That's weird. My biggest takeaway from that interview was resilience. Like the guy's he just doesn't stop. Like he'll keep going. And he seems to have hit a jackpot here.
Yeah, I honestly I wasn't trying to blow smoke up his ass, but it is very impressive. Like you meet people along the way, especially when you know people before they hit it big or they have a company like this on their hands, and you genuinely are like they really tried hard. They had a bunch of at bats, and it's nice to see. And it's so funny sometimes when it comes from they might have a theme of companies that they're building before, and then out of nowhere they hit it with a payroll company, and you're like, well, it solves a huge problem for sure. And they must have executed like perfection. It's crazy.
I'm very happy for him.
I didn't know him before this interview, and I'm very happy for him just because he's such a nice guy, down to earth, smart kid, and really, I'm genuinely happy that they're succeeding.
Yeah, and I might actually use their product. I don't know why he didn't ask me though, but
He kind of asked you.
It could solve a big problem for us. He could ask me directly. He knows how to ask me directly. But I'm gonna do it.
He's French. He knows how to be direct.
Said the guy from New York. All right, so wow, that's an episode. It's in the bag. Episode 7. I got it wrong at the beginning.
Bye.
But now I know it's episode 7. All right, later, boys. Back to work.
Have a good one.
Bye.